Hello and welcome back to another Pick a Card reading. Today's topic is going to be on what you misunderstand. So we're going to be taking a look into what you may not be seeing clearly right now, what you may be missing. Spirit is going to put a spotlight on whatever these things are for us to provide clarity and insight so that we may navigate our lives and the situations that we're faced with, being illuminated, being enlightened, having that guidance from the Most High that is going to inspire us to move forward in a way that best serves ourselves as well as those around us. I've already taken the time to cleanse the space, to cleanse myself. It feels really, really good in here. I cannot wait to get into these messages. By the way, I did do a poll and I didn't really get a lot of participants, but those that did vote mostly voted on this topic. So if you want to be a part of choosing the topics in the future, look out for polls here on YouTube. I think you can find them on the community page. And I also posted a poll on Instagram. So I'll leave my Instagram info down below in case you guys want to follow me on there as well. So as you can see, we do have 3 choices to choose from as per usual. These are some cute little stickers that I had. So our first group is going to be the turtle. Group number 2 will be the butterfly. And group number 3 is going to be the palm trees. So take a moment, close your eyes, take a deep breath in and out, and take as many of those as you need to calm your energy, to center yourself, to get yourself here in this present moment so that you may be drawn to the image or the pile that is going to resonate most with you, that is going to be most beneficial to you at this time. So I'm going to go ahead and give you a moment to do that. Feel free to pause the video if you need more time. The timestamps will be in the description box below so you can jump straight ahead to your message. And I'll see you at your reading. Hello and welcome to your reading. If you chose group 1 or this turtle sticker right here, then you are at the right place. We are doing a reading today on what do you misunderstand? The purpose of this reading is to shed light on anything that you may not be seeing clearly right now. So Spirit is using this as an opportunity to give you insight and to spotlight an area where there is a lack of understanding, where you may not be seeing the full picture just right. So they're here to assist us today in the best way that they can with the tools available to guide you to your highest potential, to your highest path. Not only for you, but for all of those around you as well. These readings are always intended to be for the highest and greatest good of us all. Okay, so I am going to begin with astrology cards because I want to get a gist of what it is that Spirit wants to talk about today. So we got the 8th house, which, you know, this is like our shadows. Our 8th house, this is the Scorpio house. This is kind of like where we put all of the uncomfortable things, the things we don't want to look at, the things that we sweep under the rug. So definitely makes sense that they would want to spotlight this area, something about this area. You are misunderstanding here. Let's take a look. So we actually got 3 more cards. I wasn't expecting to get so many, but we're going to go ahead and take them. Okay, hold on. I'm going to put some of them on this side over here so that we can fit everything as best as possible on the screen. Okay, so automatically Spirit wants to highlight for you your shadow side. These are the things that are not easily accessible. This is like where our triggers lie. And we may not know why we're being triggered, what caused the trigger, but it does elicit a certain response out of us that may not be healthy, because again, it lacks awareness. This is something that we do very unconsciously. It's stuff that we are ashamed of, or it's just really uncomfortable, yet does have an influence in how we behave and how we move, our decision-making process, all of that. So this is what Spirit wants to highlight. And specifically, they want to highlight this as it pertains to the third house. So this has to do with communication. So something about your relationships, your communication, how you communicate in relationships with friends, with coworkers, with siblings, with just neighbors, people that you see on a day-to-day basis, the community. I feel like you have a double life or like a double persona where you try to appear in a certain light or in a way that's socially acceptable out in public with your peers within the community. But it's like you have this entire different way of being or personality that you're keeping under wraps. So I'm seeing someone here that like is compartmentalizing. I feel like I'm saying that wrong. But someone that compartmentalizes. So someone that like they separate things. It's like you're not ever your full self at any occasion because it depends with who you're with, like what side of you is going to come out. And so it's like you're always keeping this balance of like, what is it that I'm going to hide? What is it that I'm going to keep hidden with this person? And so you never present in a way that's forthcoming, in a way that's honest and open, in a way that's total and whole. Because I feel like you're constantly, I don't know, like morphing or turning into who it is that you need to be depending on who's around. So it's almost like no one really ever gets to know who you really are because you keep things very separated. And I think you're very curated in how it is that you present, how you speak, the information that you communicate, the impression that you make. I just feel like you could be one of those people that your neighbors think they know you based off of whatever interactions they have with you. And they'd be so surprised that there's like a whole other side of you that they would have never thought existed because you don't show your whole self to anyone. So I feel like no one has seen your whole self. And this could be something that you were raised with, that you were taught, like you don't ever show all of your cards, you don't ever lay them all out on the table for everyone to see, or you don't wear your heart on your sleeve, like where you learned that you have to be very strategic in the way that you move and you only let people see exactly what it is that you want them to see. And I feel like this fluctuates and changes from person to person, from group to group. I think you're really good at like fitting in with whoever it is that you're with. Like you kind of can pick up the vibes of what that person would like or what they would find acceptable, and then like you fit that mold for that particular interaction, but it's deceptive in a certain way. And I feel like this is all very like subconscious. Like I don't think you're doing this on purpose to a certain extent, like because maybe you are doing this on purpose and you are kind of conscious about it, but yeah, like to a certain extent. I feel like it kicks in this mode without you even realizing that you're doing it at this point. So yeah, there's something about this that Spirit is wanting to highlight for us. This is what they want to talk about for what it is that you misunderstand. I think they're saying that you misunderstand connection, relationship, friendship with people, from work, again, your community, your neighbors, siblings. Like no one knows you. No one really knows where you stand with things, like what you truly think, what you truly believe. You're very under wraps, like you don't tell the truth is what I want to say. It doesn't necessarily have to be like that you're lying like outright. It could just be like lying by omission, like you're just not very forthcoming. You're very secretive. It seems that you are very strategic, like you only tell people or show people exactly what it is that you want them to know. I feel like people don't really ever know your true intentions or like your true purpose or what your goal is, what your aim is. People are just very misled by you and who you are and your intention. what your intentions are. Like you just have all of these different faces that you present, and no one really knows you truly and fully and wholly. And I think Spirit wants you to know that it's okay, to just be who you are, to be honest with who you are, not having the need to appeal to all people and to be very careful and, like very measured. Like if you know that the person that you're hanging out with or that you're talking to doesn't like something that you like and that you believe in, something like that, it could be that you will literally pretend to play the other side, for this person. Like you could be like messaging, indicating through your speech and everything that you agree with them and that you see the world in the way that they see it, that you guys kind of have a similar lens. And so that person will leave that interaction thinking like, oh, that person sees eye to eye with me, they agree with me, and it could be completely false. Like you could think the opposite is true, but that person left that interaction not knowing that, like not getting that impression. And so I think Spirit just wants you to be a little more forthcoming, a little more open. Because I am seeing someone here that does struggle like with vulnerability. So I don't know, like maybe this is a pain or a hurt that you have, that you feel like you can't be yourself, because if you're yourself and you express your truth, that people aren't going to get it or people will abandon you. There is some kind of trauma, some kind of wound surrounding this, and this is why you're like this. Like you keep yourself hidden and your truth hidden, and like your motives and your intentions. And so this makes you be someone that acts in this world in a way that's very calculated and a way that's very strategic. And Spirit wants you to know, like, you don't have to do that, because when you're acting in that way, that means that you are trying to have like control, like too much control. And Spirit is saying, like, if you just eased into the truth and you were just yourself and honest and open about that, things naturally fall into place. Things naturally align in the way that they're meant to. And we don't have to like manufacture relationships or situations or, we don't have to have all of this control, because I don't know, like you're controlling something. You have a really, really tight grip on something, and it's because you want to control how people see you, your image, something like this. It's like you don't want anyone to know the real you or to see you whole and full. And so when we live life like this, we can make connections that aren't really for us because you're not being honest and forthcoming. And so you make these false connections with people. You build relationships off of like a faulty foundation. And it's because of this. It's because like you're not being vulnerable, you're not being open, you're not being forthcoming, you're not being honest. And so the relationships and the connections that you make, they're very like inauthentic. You know what I mean? Because it's like these people, you guys don't know each other. You guys don't truly know each other, and like what makes you connect and what makes you vibe. It's kind of like a facade, it's a front. And so it's like everyone just lying to each other and wanting to be strategic, no one being honest and open and vulnerable. So these connections, it's almost like they're not meant to be. It's like they're forced. And Spirit is saying that if you were just to be honest, those people that you do vibe with, that you do have a natural chemistry with, a natural connection with, that would align very honestly and very effortlessly. And maybe your relationships, again, with people in your community, neighbors, siblings, people that you see on a day-to-day basis, these relationships would be so much higher vibrational, so much better if you learned how to do this. Because right now what I'm seeing is the relationships and the connections that you have, they're a little bit, I don't know if superficial is the right word. I think it's just they're not honest. Like, it lacks integrity, like it lacks honesty. And yeah, let's just keep going. I'm gonna pull tarot, see what else, to see what else Spirit wants to communicate to you about what it is that you misunderstand. I have this song by Taylor Swift stuck in my head. It's called Who's Afraid of Little Old Me? So I don't know if that would resonate for your situation. I am hearing it. Okay. This is one card. This is two cards here. Let's see what's behind this one. It's a Seven of Pence. Again, more messages about who you truly are and how you present and the things that you stand up for, the things that you uphold, the things that you believe in, the way that you move in this world. There's something that's very hidden about your character, your persona, just your whole person. There's something that goes unseen that people don't understand, and it is very emotional. So I think that this has something to do with you just feeling like you can't be who you really are. Like you have to put on a show or a front or a facade or something to be respected, to be seen in a certain light, to hold a certain position, a certain status. But I just see that whatever the status is, like, you know, there are secrets, like it's a lie in a way, or like a partial lie or something, if it's not like a total lie. So maybe you present to be like very responsible, very disciplined person, orderly person, structured person, but I think that you aren't really this way. I think it's really hard to continue this front because it's so inauthentic to who it is that you really are. So I feel like maybe you find sometimes like that the mask slips off or something, and then you could feel triggered by this or ashamed of this behavior of like, this is who I am to the world, this is how I present. But then there's something that you do or a way that you behave or something that you engage in where it kind of like the mask slips off, and so it's very inconsistent with this personality that you show the world. Like if people really were to follow your behaviors and your actions and stuff like this, they could see an inconsistency. And so maybe this is why you feel like you have to have like all of this control, trying to like control the narrative of what people know and all of these things, because you don't naturally have like a certain consistency with whatever face it is that you put out there, that you present. Where if you were just honest and forthcoming, you wouldn't have to waste so much energy like trying to like uphold the lies and like trying, you know, for no one to ever see the mask slip, trying to hide, you know, the inconsistencies, because that takes up a lot of energy doing that, like trying to uphold all of these lies and this image, and you know, and you feel very burdened by this. I see that you don't even like the positive attention. It feels very burdensome. And it's because it is very burdensome, you know what I mean? And Spirit is telling you like you are actively cutting off from like your purpose. When you behave in this way, when you're moving through life in this way, it's like, it's really difficult for Spirit to help align you to your highest path, to your purpose, because you can't find it through this avenue. You know, like this is not the way to it, to your north node, to your highest potential, to a future that is going to be so healing, so meaningful, and so purposeful for you. Spirit is saying like you're blocking that, you're cutting yourself off from that. And all you need is clarity to see what it is that you're doing, to see how it is that you're moving, so that you can make a change. Because you're just gonna stay stuck in this loop, in this like way of living, being, this reality, if you don't wake up to this and see in the subconscious ways that you are moving, that you are behaving. It's like it's taking over your life and it's keeping you stuck. It's cutting you off from your true purpose in this life, from finding true meaning and true purpose. And Spirit is saying like all you need is time to reflect, time to rest, time to clear your mind, to see things clearly. And as long as you give yourself that time, I feel like you're going to sort it all out and it's all going to make sense for you. And they're saying that things can change. Things can move, can progress. This can be like something that you leave in the past. This way of being, this way of moving. They're saying you don't have to pretend, you don't have to fake it. You can be who you are, authentically yourself. You can, be vulnerable. You can say what your truth is. You can show your heart, because actually being this way is what's going to align everything that's meant for you. The people, the situations, the circumstances. It's like you're stepping into the flow of the Tao when you're just open and honest and vulnerable from the beginning, from the start. And you're confident in that. And you just release, you let go of like any expectations or any, wanting to control the narrative or control what people know. It's like this really tight grip on controlling because you want to be seen in a certain way, but it's not true. So it's just like an image thing at that point. And then you have inconsistencies with your behavior. And then you try to like cover your tracks and cover that all up. And you try to, maintain this facade, this lie. Like Spirit wants you to see that that's taking so much of your energy. It's like you're using your life force energy to like maintain a lie. And for what? Because you're not even happy. So this is something that you have to look inside of yourself. Like, why am I doing this? It could be, again, like from when you were a child or something that happened that was traumatic. You feel that you need to do this. But Spirit wants you to know, like, this is what you misunderstand. You think that this is how you navigate life, that this is how you navigate the world, that you're being smart, you're staying on top, you're protecting your image, defending your image, but it's not true. It's not what's real. And that's why it's so difficult for you to keep up with it and to maintain it. Because what you're presenting and who you really are is like two different things. And you're never going to be able to keep that up and be at peace and be happy. You're always going to be like having this inner turmoil, this agitation about, I wonder, like, who knows what, or if someone found something out, or if you covered your tracks good enough. There's always going to be like this uneasiness about staying consistent, because it's like, of course you can't stay consistent with something that isn't genuine and true. So you might think that this is the smart way to move in life. And maybe you even might think like this is the way that everybody moves in life. But Spirit is saying, no, even if that's the way that the majority of people think they need to move in life, taking that route will lead to failure. It's a failing path. So Spirit just wants to see you like elevate. They want to see you progress. They want to see you level up. They want to see you figure out this truth, see this about yourself, and they want you to come forward more authentically, more honestly, because in doing so, this is what's going to align you to what's meant for you, to your path. And you can kind of like step out of this loop that you're in right now, because the relationships that you're forming in this way, they're not healthy. They're not real. And so you're cutting off, like in maintaining this, you're cutting off like what would be genuine, like what would be real. You're choosing this over that. So that's why they're saying like it's taking so much of your energy, and you're choosing like a failing path because it's all about image and facade. And then you feel like you have to maintain this lie, and it just kind of keeps you in this like cycle that's not healthy. So yeah, Spirit just wants you to take a deeper look, to reassess. They want you to become aware of something that you do, a pattern that you have, to see the truth about it, so that you can take the steps that you need to take to present authentically. And then you won't feel this burden, this stress of needing to, fit this mold that you've created. But it's like, you're just being yourself, you know what I mean? And it's not taking so much energy, because it's just what's true. It's just what's the truth. It's just what's going to come out naturally. So there is no control. There is like surrendering and letting things fall into place, and the place that they need to be, by being truthful. Because I feel like there's a lot of people, places, and things and connections and stuff that it's like it's manufactured. It's not natural. And so therefore, it really isn't in line with your highest potential. So if you just release all of this and then you do align to what's natural, to what's meant for you, to what's true, then you're not like cut off from aligning with something that's going to feel very healing and purposeful and meaningful for you. Okay, that was the message for group number 1. I feel like I want to dig deeper here for some reason, but I really do think that this just has to do with like, maybe you feel like you can't be yourself, you can't be authentic because then you won't be accepted. And so you have to play a role and be what, people want you to be what you've been rewarded for being, even if it's inauthentic. It's just what you misunderstand. Like Spirit is saying, this is what you need to shed light on. This is what you misunderstand. This is not a winning path. You're trying to secure something by being this way, but you're actively cutting yourself off from what is truly meant for you. And like, yeah, something about your relationships, the relationships that you keep, like they're inauthentic, and so it makes them like impure and underhand in some way. I want to say dirty. Like there's something like dirty and sneaky, and yeah, it stems from this belief that you have here, that you have to take a look at, dismantle, overcome. But before we wrap up the reading, I did want to pull an oracle card for these messages, just like as a last piece of advice from Spirit. So let's see what yours is. Oh, okay, we'll take the one that flipped. Okay, so this is Star Mother Arrakis, number 23. So number 23 could be significant for you, or the number 5. Let's see what the book has to say for Star Mother Arrakis, number 23. By the way, this is the Rumi deck, so there's a Rumi poem here, and it says, "Be the king who has made his own kingdom. Be the moon that has made her own summit. How much longer will you coo-coo like a pigeon? Empty your head of all mortal lusts and become life without breath. You will not call out for God anymore, for you have become immersed in God." Wow, that's already perfect. So it says, "Star child, earth angel, divine creature, your star mother keeps an eye on all of the wild games happening in the sacred playgrounds of the earth. She will care for you, righteous and true, shining divine justice and protection. No bully shall prevail over you. No bully from within you shall prevail either. No lies, deceit, or injustice shall temper your wild truths. Be demanding and claiming her love for you. Learn how to love yourself as she loves you, with wild, unconditional, passionate regard. Be like the child wailing for its mother. Held in the love of the mother, you have no need to resist. What is there to resist? Nothing. There is only the loving truth in your world, and all is at peace in your heart. So here is your guidance. Lay down your old weapons, for new technology awaits you. It is the most magnificent of forces, that of divine alignment, of surrender to the Star Mother and her way of luminous potency. From her great vantage point, the vastest problems of our earthly mindsets are merely in need of a quick whipping by the tail of a comet, and this she easily achieves by flicking a strand of her hair or poking out her tongue. In the hands of greater being, even your deepest trials will succumb to divine victory. Your ability to take the journey will be strengthened, and your success only a matter of the passing of time. Can you give yourself this gift, this blessing of the love, power, and protection of your star heritage? We all descend from the stars, but some of us are asked to remember to acknowledge the divine parentage from which we come, and to allow the innate divine dignity within to restore us to faith in the path here on earth. No matter how dark life on earth may seem at times, when we remember our holy heritage, we can also realize, yes, I am blessed, held as one with the Mother, who shall not be deterred from great holy purpose. I shall prevail. I forgot that and feared, but now I remember and am determined once more. Then you should feel joy and be inclined to dance, to sing, to make your art, and to live fearlessly once again. And then there's a sacred honoring ritual. And it says, open your hands up above your head and say, through unconditional love and divine mercy, through the blessings of the ancient master and sages, including Brother Rumi, who loves without condition, I call upon the blessings of the stars, the remembrance of my divine heritage, and the gift of spiritual success. I call upon the assurance of my soul's triumph and the luminous embrace of the Holy Mother. I honor my soul's need for art and for expression and for creativity now, from a pure and loving place within me. So be it. I love that. I think that was perfect and it fit perfectly with the message that we got. It's just encouraging you to rest assured, you don't have to have such a tight grip trying to control things because, you think that this is how you play the game. You think this is how you ensure success, is by having control over how people view you and what they think about you and all of these things. But really, all you have to do is surrender and just be yourself. Just express what's in your heart. And that alone is going to take you and is going to align you where it is that you're meant to be. It's going to align you to your highest potential and put you next to the people, put you in the groups and the environments and the communities, nourish the relationships that are going to be the most healing, the most beneficial, the most beautiful, the most meaningful, and the most purposeful. And in the oracle message that we just read, somewhere it said no bully shall prevail over you. And I think there's something about that, maybe you were bullied and this has to do with that. Because again, remember I heard that song by Taylor Swift and it has something to do with that too, that song. It connects there in some way. So maybe that resonates for you. Okay, group number 1, I truly hope this message has served you and that it did shed some light for you and has inspired you to move forward in a way that is honest and true and in line with unconditional love and universal law and order. Thank you so much for being here with me today. If you'd like a personal reading, I would love to help you with that. I'm going to leave my email in the description box below so that you can contact me if you're interested. As always, I also love hearing your feedback, so let me know how this resonated for you. Take good care of yourself, and until next time, bye. Hello, and welcome to your reading if you chose group number 2 or this butterfly sticker right here. Today we are doing a reading on what you misunderstand. So we're going to be taking a look into what you may not be seeing clearly at this time, what you're missing the mark on, and what Spirit would like to give you clarity on that is going to elevate your experience, help your cause is what I'm hearing, just guide you in the right direction, and align you to your highest path, your highest potential. That's always what Spirit is intending to do. That is their purpose. So I'm going to go ahead and get started right away. We are going to begin with astrology cards today so we can pinpoint where it is that they want to go with this message. Okay. Aquarius. I'm going to pull 2 more since for the first group we did get 4, so I'm going to try to keep it the same. And of course they fell on the floor. Okay, let's see. Okay, so what do you misunderstand? There's definitely an energy here of your relationship with people on a larger scale, like your relationship with an audience or with a mass of people, versus your more personal one-on-one relationships is immediately what I'm picking up on. I feel like one of these areas, one of these relationships is suffering. It's taking a hit because I think, there's something that you misunderstand about how you nourish and grow and sustain personal relationships. Maybe you are someone that you do have a large friend group, or it could even be an online presence, or you work around a lot of people or with a lot of people, within a whole network. You could even have like a position of authority in this space. And I think that you feel really powerful and confident in this space. This is an area in your life that I think that you thrive in, that you are really successful in naturally. Maybe you're a great speaker, or you present a lot of very useful, a lot of very helpful information. I think you definitely have an abundance of good friendships. You're regarded in a way that's very respected. And I think it's because of the information that you provide, the advice that you give. You seem like a very cultured person, someone that has maybe traveled a lot, or someone that just knows a lot. You have teacher energy, and people feel really expanded by what you tell them, by listening to you. I feel like they always feel like they've left better than they came, you know? Like they always gain something by just hearing you communicate, or interacting with you, or again, watching you online, or thinking about and analyzing the information that you're presenting. Like maybe you spark, you know, the inspiration for people to go and do further research on certain topics that you mention, that you bring up. And people just feel like really changed by it, really electrified by it. I feel like you help people feel free. It's a really positive energy. It's a really helpful energy. People just feel liberated and very optimistic by you. So yeah, something about this, like I just feel like your relationships, like on a grand scale, okay? So like they're not personal relationships. It's like if you have like a big following or something. So let's say like celebrities, you know, or influencers or something, that they have like a big following, and a lot of them, they have this relationship with their following, but it's not a personal one-on-one relationship with each person. You know what I mean? It's like they have a lot of love, a lot of support, but ultimately it's from a bunch of strangers and people that they don't know, like on a deep level. So I'm thinking of parasocial relationships. That's the word that comes to mind, but it's not in a negative way. Like I think that these people, they are really touched by you, and they are really influenced in a positive way by you. And I think that this is like a gift that you have. It's something that you're really good at. It's a position you're meant for. And it is your intention to elevate people and to uplift people and to provide some kind of value. I feel like you're a giver. Like it's your pleasure, it's your honor to serve in this way, and to give and to share. And so yeah, that's why I think that from this standpoint, you have a lot of relationships and a lot of people that like you, and that again see you in a really high light, possibly even place you up on a pedestal, or like place you up above the rest, like you're a cut above the rest or something. And so from this standpoint, like from this point of view, I feel like, you know, you have a lot of love, you have a lot of support, you have a lot of people around you that would, you know, defend you, or that, you know, speak really highly about you. Or if they were to see you out in public, maybe you would experience a little bit of like that fangirling kind of energy, or fanboy, like where people would want to like tell you how you've inspired them, and how much you've changed their life, or how much you've helped them. It's a really good energy. It's a really loving energy, positive energy, supportive. But again, it's coming from essentially people that are strangers. You know, like these aren't people that you have a deep one-on-one relationship, a deep one-on-one connection. Because what I'm seeing here is that when it comes to groups and relationships and masses of people, like you're good. Everything in that department is good. But I feel like maybe what you misunderstand is like personal one-on-one relationships, and what that takes, you know, to grow and to sustain and to build. I feel like you really know how to build trust within like a large group of people. You know how to build like a good rapport when it comes to that arena. But for some reason, I'm thinking that your one-on-one relationships are taking a hit, or you try to apply like the same methods or like the same energy to your one-on-one relationships, and you're finding that like they're just more slow to get to this place of vulnerability and trust and intimacy. Like, I just feel like it's slow moving. So I hope that's making sense. It just feels like on a community level, like these relationships flourish and grow and it's almost like effortless. But on a personal level, those relationships are like harder to come by, or they're very solid relationships, but maybe it just like takes a long time for them to like blossom and flourish, and for you to get to a place where you feel very like abundant in that relationship, or like comfortable, like at home. And maybe, I don't know, like maybe you're in the mood, you know, to like date and to have fun and to experience romance. And maybe you haven't been so successful in that department. Maybe you're looking for like your person, your forever person, someone that you can grow with, someone that you can build with, be like in a really solid, stable commitment with, potentially, you know, marry. Maybe you want that, maybe you crave that. Maybe you're feeling like the absence of this in your life, which is such an irony, right? Because like you have so many people that respect you and love you and support you, and that do consider themselves like your friends and your family and all of that. But then it's like your personal relationships are just slow moving is what I'm seeing. It's slower. There's not a lot of movement here, not as much anyway as your friends group and your community and your audience. So let's see. I'm going to pull tarot now to see what else we can get about this. More clarity, more information. The Five of Pentacles, the Four of Wands. I think this is something that like evades you. Like you're trying to figure this out yourself. You do feel a lack. Like you feel a certain lack, or you feel cast out. It's giving like, you know, like just that loneliness that a lot of celebrities will talk about, where it's like, there's an irony, you know, it's ironic, like that they can't even leave their houses without like a swarm of people coming into their space and basically like worshiping them, or just so interested in them and so eager to meet them and talk to them and just exchange energy. But then like at the end of the night, when you're at home, it's like you're alone. You know, like that story you hear celebrities, a lot of celebrities describe and talk about, where they feel like it is very lonely. And it's such a stark difference, like when they're out there in the world, in public, around everyone, around all the commotion. And then like from 1 minute to the next, when they're back at home or back in their hotel room, they're all alone and they feel lonely. And it's so quiet. We got a couple extra cards here. Yeah, I just feel like you want union. You're looking for a committed relationship, for a partner, for love, someone that you can make a home with, make a whole life with, you know, make a family with. I'm also seeing like grow things with, so maybe you want to like grow food or have a garden. There is a very earthy energy here of just like you want to build, you want to grow, you want to create some type of abundance within a personal relationship here, because I do see that you have a lot of abundance already like within the community, but you're craving it in a more personal way. So this is something that you're trying to learn about, that you're trying to gather information about, of like how can you achieve this. I feel like you are thinking a lot about your past relationships too. Like you're putting together pieces of your past relationships and maybe how those have failed in the past and what could have happened, how potentially how you made the people that you were in these personal one-on-one relationships with, like how did you make them feel? Why did those relationships end? Or why are there so few of those types of relationships in your life? Or why is it not easy to come by? I just feel like you are contemplating on this, you're putting thought into this. I feel like you're trying to learn what happened and like what decisions led to what actions led to what, because I think that you want to be successful in this department, you know? So it's possible that you're just like looking into your past, those relationships that you felt really good by, like that you felt like were loving and genuine and nourishing, that felt very comfortable, very real, but I feel like they must have ended not so great, because I'm seeing an energy here of lack, of feeling like, why doesn't it grow to the level, to the point that I want it to grow? Like, why doesn't it make it there? Why doesn't it stand the test of time? What happens? What goes wrong? And it's possible that it could be that because you have this experience of having like so much support on a grand scale, like from the community, maybe you feel like very entitled or like more important than your partner or something, or you prioritize your own desires, and maybe this is what you misunderstand. You're just getting clarity about why your relationships, why they haven't worked out, why you haven't been able to get what you want. And I think it's because, again, like what I said in the beginning, like you try to apply the same energy of how you handle the relationships with your community. Like you think that you can just do the same thing or like transfer that energy to how you handle your personal relationships, and it doesn't work. You know, it doesn't work, because with personal relationships, like it needs to be very equal, balanced, reciprocal. Like everyone's needs need to be getting met. Like it's compromise, it's balance, meeting in the middle, getting to know your partner, considering your partner, prioritizing them, understanding that they're an equal to you. Like their needs and their desires and their wants are just as important as yours. And just because, you know, you have like this big success or something, or like this position in the community, it doesn't make you superior in your personal one-on-one relationships. I feel like you sacrifice certain things in your personal one-on-one relationships that shouldn't be sacrificed, and that's why they don't grow, and that's why they end, and that's why it moves slower. Like that department moves slower because maybe you aren't giving it the same time and effort and energy that you're giving your community or like this audience that you have. And so then your partner ends up feeling empty, alone, not chosen, not prioritized, not considered, which I feel like you know that feeling very well, because essentially like your community, they don't know you like one-on-one on a personal level. Like they're not the people that are there with you during your hard moments in private, the ones that you're creating a home with, that you're possibly creating a family with, that know like everything about you, that experience you in those intimate moments. And so there's something about that here that you misunderstand. But Spirit is encouraging you to stay positive, to stay optimistic, that even though, you know, you feel like you've failed in the personal relationship sector of your life, like they're saying not to give up. They're saying that it's not going to be an easy journey ahead to get this, to experience this, but you kind of just have to move forward with a really positive mindset and outlook, knowing that it's possible, knowing that, you know, you can learn how to be a good partner, and knowing that there's someone out there for you, knowing that this is something that you can experience and that you can have and that can be long-term and abundant and fruitful. But yeah, I do feel like you're very aware of like some sort of block that exists within your personal relationships. Like they don't go past a certain point, or, you know, you guys end up breaking up. So there's something here that you are trying to like connect the dots to, put the pieces together about, like you're trying to make sense out of it, understand what has happened in the past, how you weren't seeing things clearly in the past. Because I feel like you're really craving this. Like you're just really craving this family, home situation. Like you just want to have a love story. Like you want to meet someone and, you know, be head over heels for them and like date, you know, do the whole dating thing, getting to know each other, you know, going through that honeymoon phase, where then you ask this person or this person asks you to be like in a higher level of commitment. And then, you guys do that for a while, and then maybe you guys move in, and then you guys get married, have kids, whatever it is that you want. Because it could just be also like get pets together, or grow something together, grow a garden, like create a home, make a home that has everything that both of you will need to live your everyday life, a home that works for the both of you. You want to create like that stable, solid type of relationship, that beautiful love story, like a happily ever after. You want to live out that dream, that fairy tale. You want to have like a happy history with someone, like create that, I just think like you're a very strong-willed person, and you could be a little bit on the selfish side is what I'm getting. And again, like I think it's because like you're so supported and you have like this big fan base or like this big community that like really places you up on a pedestal. I see a lot of success in this area, and I don't know, for some reason maybe like this has given you like the confidence to just be very defensive, even in times when it's inappropriate to do that, where instead of being on the defense, like it's time for you to be compassionate and to understand and to let your guard down and to allow someone else to take up space and to listen to someone else's perspective and to consider, that maybe they're right, and not to talk back, maybe like stay quiet and listen. Learn how to listen, learn how to be present. So yeah, Spirit is definitely saying that what you misunderstand has to do with personal relationships, how to sustain this, how to grow this, how to make it work, how to make it long lasting, and how to be happy and how to have like a balanced relationship. And to understand what a relationship is too, right? Because I find that a lot of people don't understand that. Like they might not understand that you can't be super selfish in a relationship. Like you can't just always just want to have your way and make your needs and your desires the most important above other people. That's not going to work. I feel like in relationships there are going to be sacrifices and compromises and, needing to be compassionate. And it's not about coddling or always agreeing with everything that your partner says, but it is about listening and trying to understand and having compassion, even if you don't agree, agreeing to disagree. But it's like you gave them the time to express. You know where they're coming from. And then maybe you guys can find some sort of middle ground, some kind of compromise. I also feel like within a marriage or a personal one-on-one relationship, like you can't let too many outside influences get in the way, get in your ear, or like prioritize friendships over your person, because you feel like you do have this strong obligation to your community. And so maybe again, like you're constantly talking to your community, making time for them, but it's like at the expense of your personal relationships. You know what I mean? And it's saying like you need to have better boundaries, because again, like the person you're in relationship with, I feel like they need to feel prioritized and like they matter. Oh my gosh. I'm hearing that song from Taylor Swift. It's called Tolerate It. I also got a Taylor Swift song in the last pile. A lot of Taylor Swift coming through lately, but yeah, and it makes sense. So I feel like that song, like maybe that's like how your partners have felt, like where they have to like beg you for attention or like time or to prioritize them or to care about them. There's a part in that song where she says, "I'm begging for footnotes in the story of your life." And so yeah, like this is what Spirit wants you to look at, and take this however it resonates, because maybe this is how you feel. Like the energies could be flipped. So maybe, someone is doing this to you, and Spirit just wants to like shed light on relationships, personal relationships, and how to have one that is very stable and long lasting and abundant, fruitful and happy. enjoyable, comfortable, the whole nine, you know? They're just trying to give you some information and help you understand on how you can go about doing that, you know, how you can achieve that. They don't want you to be too careless in relationships. I feel like you just give too little bit. You know, it's like you say that this is important for you, you say that you want this, but then you show up with like no plan or flippant, very flippantly, or like, I don't know, something like that. Spirit wants you to definitely bring balance to this area and to like understand that you have to give more. Also to understand that it takes work. I feel like maybe you think it's supposed to be just perfect and amazing, and you know, like the second you feel pushback or a challenge or something, like you feel like, well, I'm out, you know, it shouldn't be this hard, it shouldn't be this difficult. But relationships aren't easy, you know what I mean? Like they do require work and effort and intention. Like you have to be intentional. Love is a verb, you know? Love is a verb. It's not only a feeling. And I feel like you need to understand something about this. I think you need to like get better with communication when it comes to like personal relationships, with expressing yourself. Also better with decision making. Like maybe you don't make the best decisions. Again, you could be very defensive. You could be prioritizing yourself or making yourself like the most important one. There is like a level of vulnerability that needs to exist for relationships to work, you know, and to build that intimacy and to build that trust. It's just about being like completely honest with someone, completely open, vulnerable, caring about them enough to know what they need, like what their needs are, and to consider them and to prioritize that, you know what I mean? And wherever you find like a hiccup, a bump in the road, talk about it and find middle ground, compromise. This is how you build trust. This is how you build intimacy, a strong connection. It's like just give it the same time and energy and effort that you give like your audience, you know, your community, whatever position it is that you hold in that space. It's about finding like a good balance with this position that you have, this job, to like lead people and talk to people, to communicate to people, to find solutions, to consider like a whole crowd of people. I think like you're just really good at that naturally. And so you think that maybe you know best or something when it comes to personal relationships, but that's something that you misunderstand. That's something that you're not seeing clearly. And it is playing a role in why you feel like so unsuccessful in this department, in this area. And like why you feel, you know, like things don't move, things don't progress, like it eventually dies out, you know? It could also be that you move from person to person, like really quickly, like you move fast. And Spirit is trying to highlight that these types of relationships, like they need to move slow. It's better to move slow because it's better to get to know a person fully instead of just like being so enamored by first impressions and stuff like that, and by outer appearances, and then wanting to like rush in and just move too fast. Like Spirit is saying, like you misunderstand that you need to put in time, effort. It's a cultivation. It's going to move in its own pace. You have to be patient. You have to allow it, you know, time to nourish it, you know, so that it can flourish. And that's going to happen in its own time. There is a message here about like, don't rush it. Don't rush it. Like maybe you're very passionate, you know? I'm hearing when fools rush in. I don't know. I don't know what that means. I know it's a movie, but I don't remember it. I don't even know if I've ever seen it or like what it's about. So maybe that resonates for some of you. But yeah, Spirit is just saying like it's going to take time. It's a cultivation. Maybe you get impatient. Like maybe you're like, oh, like why isn't this progressing? Why isn't this moving? Like whatever. And then you call it quits or something. And maybe you do that prematurely. And Spirit just wants you to understand that like it takes time. It's going to take both of you learning how to work together, finding a good balance in that. And like don't try to rush it. Like, you know, is what they're saying. Maybe don't try to rush intimacy. Maybe as soon as like you introduce sex, like it just complicates things. Something about that here is coming through as well. But okay, let's pull an oracle card to see what is the last bit of advice that Spirit would like to give to you as it pertains to what it is that you misunderstand. Divine discontent, number 12. I think I know exactly what this card is about, and yeah, it makes perfect sense, but let me read it for you. So the poem is, winter falls upon us, so spring can bring new growth. Cry the tears, allow the longing. Sadness brings surrender and a deep desire to be free. Yeah, like I feel like you do feel sad about this, like you feel like a failure, and this is good, you know, because it's showing you like it's something you're not happy with, you know what I mean? Like, or maybe you think that you can have like these really shallow, like one night stand type of connections, or like friends with benefits or something like that. Like maybe you think you can have like these, just like you can just date, you know, like keep it at the dating stage. Like maybe you think that that's what you wanted, and now you're realizing like, I need someone that's going to be there with me, you know, that's going to know me, someone that's going to be there for the long haul. You want something long term. That could be something that you misunderstand. That it's like you've convinced yourself that you'll keep yourself satisfied with these types of relationships, like very in and out, spontaneous, out of the blue, flash in the pan type of relationships. But yeah, like there's something about learning how to create and cultivate and sustain and nourish a long-term relationship, like a marriage or something. Okay, so it says, there is a sense within you, perhaps quite obvious to your conscious mind, or perhaps only dimly registered as an unnameable underlying sense of anxiety, that something in your life is not quite right. It may be the sense, even amongst so much gratitude, of a yearning yet to be met, a longing yet to be fulfilled and satisfied. This is the pain of the awakening heart. The heart is capable of bliss and ecstatic reverence for the sheer beauty and wonder of creation. Yet, as the heart matures, there will be a process of deep, passionate longing that awakens for the divine. It is the impatience for the caress of the great lover, for the presence of the divine to come to you. Over time, that longing will grow from a mild inner sense of incompleteness, needing to become whole. It will develop into a holy fever, a sacred rage, a stamping of dancing feet, a pounding of fists upon the altar, and a longing so deep and distressing that one may well break into tears at the impossibility of bearing the pain of apparent separation for even a moment longer. Where is my beloved? Cries the awakening heart. I call for my beloved, and yet I am here, still waiting. I can't stand this any longer. As devotion grows and passion for the divine intensifies, so too does this yearning. So much so that this may come to feel as though your heart is breaking for the divine. Or perhaps you're not quite there yet. Your heart is attached to smaller gods, such as your status, your job, your lover, your body looking a certain way, or being able to live your life in a particular way. These smaller gods are not necessarily an issue, yet you have drawn this oracle, and so it is guidance for you that the divine wants to draw you closer. Let your heart break and lie prostrate on the floor, hands clutching and head bowed, as though only your sadness and plight could stir the heart of the divine beloved into descent of grace, saving you from a life far too bland for your exquisite palate. Don't misinterpret the pain and think that something really is wrong. If you are surrounded by status and money and cannot understand why you should mourn, it is even more important that you allow yourself to do so. Mourning is to be felt. Understanding is not so relevant. But if you must seek understanding, then know this. You are just waking from the deepest slumber, and with your awakening heart, you are realizing a truth. A part of you, deeper and wider, vaster and more instinctive, truthful and intelligent than your mind, is lonely for the divine embrace. This is right. This is sensible. This is sanity. It is the pain, the real noble pain of the heart that says, there is something more than this inadequacy, this settling for plastic instead of precious gemstones that must end now. I cannot be fed by pixelated sunsets and animation upon my computer screen. I yearn to be blasted by so much radiance and beauty, by the real thing, that I become stupefied. I want to become a fumbling, ecstatic wreck in the presence of my beloved. I want to allow this pain, this yearning, this divine discontent to guide me to the holy lover, so my life may never be the same again. And so it shall be. The discontent divine growing within you is the beginning, not the destiny. Its purpose is to lead you into the greatest connection yet with divinity. Do not resist it. Witness it. Do not dismiss it, trying to cover up its smell with rose petals. Let your rank discontent be the pathway to divinity. Look beyond what is, what has been prized and treasured, and is now found to be plated, and not the precious gold it was once esteemed to be. Don't be scared, for you are my sidekick on this great holy adventure. I am here. I have you in my sights, though you may not see me yet. I am holding a loaf of fresh bread, hot from the kitchen of the Creator, hoping to entice you with its wafting scent, tempting you to follow me towards something of far more substance. If you are still stuck on pine-scented air freshener, imagining it is anything akin to the wild scent of the pine forests for real, then how can I tempt you? Let the stench be the stench. Then the fragrance of God can be discerned, and together we can leave what is less behind, once and for all, grabbing like hungry school children for the divine bread with sweet, fresh scent filling the air. Oh my God, like, what a message. I feel like that oracle card hit so hard. And yeah, like, you want something more, you want something greater. I feel like you have something amazing. You have status, you have community, you have support, you have success, position in the community. Maybe like you've made some major discovery or something. Like, it could be something of the sciences and maths and, something that is very intellectual. Again, like, you feel like you have it all the support in the world, but then you feel alone, lonely, sad, disconnected, discontent, left out in the cold. So Spirit is trying to show you that you're going to find happiness in like a one-on-one relationship. They want you to see the value in one of those, in a one-on-one relationship, cultivating one-on-one relationships, because this is what's going to help you find connection. And you know what? If it's not with a person, it could be, because the oracle card was saying, like, with the divine, you want to connect to something bigger, to something greater, to the divine. So this could even just be like having a more solid, stable relationship with the divine, with nature. So they can be saying, like, connect with nature, go out into nature to help you feel like the magic of the divine and the presence of the divine really gracing your life and really with you. See how nature works, how nature operates, so you can see how God works. And so you can find like the unity amongst all things, the oneness. This is going to help bridge like a connection to the divine, to things of true value. I feel like it has to do with actual relationships, one-on-one personal relationships, but also like to the divine, to the Most High. And this isn't something that you rush. It gets done in its own timing. So this is what's missing from your life. This type of relationship, this type of connection, intimate union with the divine beloved. Whether you're meant to experience that with a person, which I do see heavily here, but I can also take this message as like the divine beloved being spirit, being God energy. So yeah, that's such a beautiful message. Spirit is just saying, like, take this pain that you feel and know that there is a purpose for it. Like, it's because it's calling you to something higher. What was enough for you before is like no longer enough for you now. Like, you need more. You need more connection, more union, more heart to heart, something more personal, more intimate. And this is what you misunderstand. So I truly hope that this message has served you and that this inspires you to move forward and to trust and to know that you're not a failure. You are not failing. Don't get lost in what you think has failed and the doubt and the losses and the setbacks, the things that have failed, that have not grown in the past, and just try to be present and focus on this now moment and what is alive right now and what can you sustain, what can you nourish now. I feel like there's a greater pathway opening up for you, and it's just to bring you to a higher experience, to bring you closer to your sacred purpose and to bring you closer to divinity. So just know that all is well, and what you seek seeks you. And you may be going through like a rough spot, but just keep allowing these truths to come in, keep contemplating, keep sitting on it so that it can integrate, and it's really going to influence the way that you move. And through that, you're going to be more inviting of what it is that you're looking for, what it is that is going to be nourishing and is going to fill, some void that you feel strongly. Okay, you guys, so thank you so much for being here with me today. Again, I hope this message has served you. I do offer personal readings. You can find my email in the description box below if you're interested. I'd be more than happy to work with you. Take good care of yourselves, and until next time, bye. Hello, and welcome to your reading if you chose group number 3 or this palm tree sticker right here. Today, we are doing a reading on the topic, what do you misunderstand? So this is an opportunity for Spirit to come through and to shed some light on an area for you that you may not be perceiving clearly, seeing clearly, something important that you may not be considering or taking into account that Spirit would think is important for you on your journey to know and to have clarity and guidance on, so that you can navigate your life according to natural law and divine order. Spirit is always just looking to align you to your highest potential, to your highest path. So any messages that may come through here for you today that resonate with you will always be for that purpose. And it'll always be to serve your greatest good as well as all of those around you. So we are going to go ahead and get started with astrology cards so that I can pinpoint the energy to what it is that Spirit wants to address today with us. To those of you that were drawn to this group, Big Daddy Saturn, starting strong with Big Daddy Saturn. Oh, and the sun. Okay. I like it, the sun and the palm trees. I thought this message was going to be like an easy breezy type of message because the picture of the palm trees, it kind of reminds me of like tropical summer energy, chill, relaxed vibes, but we'll see. Because with that Big Daddy Saturn energy there, I don't know about vacation kind of energy anymore. We also got the 7th house for one of the last 2 piles, so this should be interesting. And then we got Sagittarius. I'm feeling like there is a connection to the other 2 piles, so you guys may have been drawn to another pile, and if that's true, then that means that there are multiple messages waiting for you to receive them. So just in case you're interested, just in case that's resonating, you could use that as confirmation for some of you that may have been drawn to 2 groups. I'm definitely sensing that. Okay, so what do you misunderstand? Right off the bat, I see that Spirit wants to talk about relationships and sacrificing yourself in relationships, which I'm really glad that this is coming up. I think it's foundational information to know, and it's the reason why a lot of people get into trouble these days. So as you guys may already know, I know I've mentioned this in other readings, whether they're pick a card readings or moon updates, but I know that I've talked about this before, about relationships being the avenue in which we learn the most about ourselves. Through relationship, this is how we can get a mirror held up to ourselves and can see ourselves more clearly, more fluently is also what I'm hearing. So I think this group really values relationships and connections. I'm getting in all aspects: familial, romantic, platonic, day to day, with colleagues, neighbors. I feel like this is a group that loves connection, values friendship, and really wants to experience positive energy, positive experiences in these spaces. And so you might go above and beyond to ensure that your relationships are happy, are good. With the Sagittarius energy here, it's reminding me of that very Sagittarian quality. Most Sagittarius people that I meet, they are like the most attentive hosts or hostesses. They are so open, so kind, so giving. They always want to make people feel like good, you know? So they're constantly like asking, like, are you okay? Do you need anything? You know, are you hungry? Let's go check out this awesome restaurant. They're just always so concerned with your experience, making sure that you're taken care of, making sure that you're having a good time, that you feel, you know, like you're getting attended to. The Sagittarius energy, like I said, they're so giving. Like this is the energy that would pick up the tab, that would buy gifts, that would like let you have something of theirs. Like if you needed a pair of shoes and they had a pair of shoes, they'll be like, here, this is an extra pair of shoes, just keep them, you know? Like they'll go in their own closet and just give you whatever it is that you need. And sometimes they can just go a little bit overboard. You know, it's like they have all of this positive energy, this optimistic energy. And in the moment, they just want to give. Like it's their natural inclination to expand things. So unfortunately, sometimes when this is out of balance, they're known to go a little bit overboard. And I'm not talking about like people, I know the way I'm wording it is a bit confusing, but I mean the energy, like the Sagittarius energy. When it's a bit unbalanced, it can go a little bit overboard. So it can be a little bit too optimistic and like do a little bit too much. Like maybe you feel like you're so in the moment, and in the moment it feels so right and it feels so good to make a purchase, to make an expense, to just have the best day ever. And then at the end of the night, you realize like that you went overboard and maybe you went a little bit over your budget. Maybe you spent a little bit too much in the name of a good time or in the name of taking care of somebody or looking out for somebody. It's like, oh crap, you go into your closet and you realize that like someone took your running shoes and you're like, oh my gosh, I let so-and-so borrow them and I told them to keep it. I completely forgot, now I don't have running shoes, you know? Or, you know, like you bite off a little more than you can chew. So I feel like this is your energy. I feel like your energy is like you're just always wanting to look out for people. It's almost like you want to be the savior. You want to be the protector, the hero. So you go above and beyond, even when it's not the best thing to do, because either it's affecting you negatively or it could be affecting the person that you are trying to give to negatively. Like maybe that person was meant to figure it out for themselves or not get something handed to them so easily and done for them, you know? Because I feel like you're the type of person that you do not allow people to like rise up to the occasion. You look at it as, oh, let me just like help somebody. Let me just alleviate someone. Try to make something easier for someone or fun or better. And the problem with that is that you start standing in the way of like karma, you know, and like things that are meant to be. When you are overly nice, overly giving, like this is such an admirable quality to have. You know, you're a sweetheart, you're great. Like I just want you, you know, to know that. Your good heart, it shouldn't be looked at as a fault or something. But this is something that you misunderstand. So this is something Spirit wants to address with you. But they're saying that you think that you kind of have to show up in relationships like holier than thou. Maybe you feel like you know more, you know better, like you're above these people in a certain way. So it's like you have to guide them and it falls on you and it's your responsibility and, you know, you have to lead the way or something like this. Or it could also be like that you're very religious, like you're very spiritual. You have a strong spiritual connection. And so you think that like the more people you can help, the more people you can save, the more people that you can be just unconditionally giving and loving and kind to and just give freely to, that this is what God wants, this is what Spirit wants. When someone hits you, turn the other cheek and just take the higher road. and just be a good person and take all the hits. You know what I mean? Like, it's this type of perspective, outlook that tells people that if you are loving and if you are of God, that, you know, you could never get angry, that you would never argue or fight with anyone. You would just sit there and take it. You would be a doormat. I don't like that word doormat, but you know, this is the perspective that a lot of people have. Like, the second that you start to defend yourself, place boundaries, hold people accountable, you know, be very stern, people will start being like, oh, but what is this? You know, I thought you were spiritual. I thought you were all loving and compassionate and, you know, one of God's children. You know, they think that being spiritual or being religious means that you just have to like be the bigger person and take people's shit and just like endure it. So what happens to this energy is that it can get really taken advantage of, it can get stepped all over, it can get used. And so then this energy isn't channeling itself like in the highest way that it could be, you know, in this way that is very loving and open and giving and expansive and abundant and caring, you know, but in a way that's also like gonna hold you accountable. It's not gonna take all of the hits for you. It's going to let karma go where it needs to go. It's not going to enable people, because I'm seeing that this is part of a personality trait that you have, like to be this really forgiving and compassionate person, because again, you think like it's your purpose. You think that this is what you're supposed to do. This is what you're meant to do, but it's at the expense of you, right? And of your own sun energy. So this has to do like with your own person, like your values, the things that you believe in, your philosophies, your worldviews, the boundaries that you have. It's like these things that are non-negotiable, the things that make you you. You know, like in life, we all have a choice to live our life in whatever way that we choose. You know what I mean? Like to choose what we're going to prioritize, what's the most important thing for us, how it is that we want to move in the world, what it is that we want to uphold, what responsibilities, what duties are important for us to uphold. You know, the way that you view the world, your relationship with yourself, with God, with the divine, with your work, with what you do. Like, these are all very personal things that we all have to contemplate on and meditate on to get to know ourselves, to find our truth, to get to know our heart. These aren't things that we're meant to be compromising with other people, meant to be negotiating. These are non-negotiable things. And I know in relationships, you know, we hear that the only way they could work is through compromise and meeting in the middle and finding middle ground and making certain sacrifices for the ones that you love. And that being like the greatest indicator of love, being selfless like that. I was hearing, it must have been love. But yeah, anyway, random, I know. It's very random for me to just like be hearing that out of nowhere right now too. But so yeah, what you misunderstand is that there are certain things in relationships that you do not sacrifice. It is not appropriate for you to sacrifice. There are things that are non-negotiables. There are things that you should never compromise. These things have to do with your own self, with your heart, with who you are as a person, how you express, what you believe in, what is true in your heart, with your authentic expression, your authenticity. These are things that you never compromise. You should never be changing anything about your values, your beliefs for someone else, to like come to someone else's rescue. You don't compromise in these areas. So while yes, relationships are about compromising, you also have to reflect upon like, what is it that you're compromising? Because it should never be something that is like foundational to who you are as a person, as a human being. You should never have to change something about the core of who you are and what you believe in to be with someone else or to be friends with someone or to help someone. These things should never be sacrificed, because I'm seeing that you think that you have to be like an overgiver, that you have to overdo it, and be so forgiving, so compassionate, so kind, even when maybe it's not deserved. Maybe, you need to hold up some boundaries, because this is going to put karma where it needs to go. Like you can't be taking all of the hits. You can't be willing to take all of the hits. Spirit is saying you can't just be all forgiving, all of the time. Because sometimes it's appropriate for you to hold someone accountable and tell them exactly what they did, and hold up that mirror and tell them why it was wrong, and let them have to figure it out for themselves. Let them put the pieces to the puzzle themselves. Let them make the changes that they need to make. You have to know, like, when you are like acting out of place. The same way people can be controlling and acting out of place in a negative way, you can also do that from a positive way, from the opposite side of like, you're doing too much, you're enabling, you're coddling, you're rescuing. It's codependent. And so it's important to know like a balance, like have a good balance of when it's okay to help, to support, to uplift, to guide, and when you have to put your hands up and you have to like, that's up to God. You have to leave it to God. That's between them and God. I have no place here right now. There's nothing for me to do here. This is not my responsibility. I'm not about to take this on. It's not mine to carry. It's like having that discernment to know. Because I think that you guys are people that self-sacrifice too much. You sacrifice your own selfhood, your own person, your own truth. It's like you're sacrificing your own destiny, your own purpose to help and uplift others. This is like the story of a lot of people's lives, It's like realizing that they're a people pleaser. Realize that they just want to help. They have like this urge to help. They just want to rescue, but it's like they're doing it at the expense of themselves. Okay, so let's finally get into the tarot to get more messages here about this. But yeah, that's definitely what I'm seeing. It's like you're burdening yourself. You're burdening yourself. I feel like you don't have that much to give. Again, it's like what I said. It's like you are burdening yourself, and you have like an empty cup or something. Like you're biting off more than you can chew, and that's why it's a burden. You're not giving from a place of abundance. It's a sacrifice for you to be this way. And Spirit doesn't want you to mistaken, oh, well, I'm sacrificing all of these things because I'm devoted to doing the right thing and to being a child of God and to doing God's work and to uplifting where I can. And, this means that I must be very self-sacrificial. And Spirit wants you to know that that's what you misunderstand. Spirit is saying, like, we do not require that. We don't want you to be that way. We don't want you to do that. Actually, being spiritual means that you are in charge of yourself. You are strong. You know who you are. You know what you believe in. You know what your truth is. You know your heart. And you express from there, from that place. You make your decisions, your choices. You move from there, from your heart. So, you shouldn't be self-sacrificing, because you also need to be considering yourself. You matter too. Your needs should also be getting met too. You being this self-sacrificing, like, that's not balanced. And Spirit, like, they're all about balance and the middle path, and, they don't ever want you to be like at either extreme. It's all about like finding middle ground, balance, and not feeling like obligated or like responsible in times when it's just like not your responsibility. You could be carrying way more than what you need to be. And then I feel like this, you may have had the experience because of this belief that you have, because of what you misunderstand. You could be someone that gets like mistreated or something. Like, you could be someone that gets mistreated, gets walked all over, gets disrespected, and it's because you're so open and giving and you want to rescue people. People will take that for granted, or people will start to expect it from you and then call you mean and nasty for not saving them or something, or not doing something that they should have been doing. That is their responsibility to do, you know what I mean? And it just makes like your relationships not great. These are the types of people that attract, you know, like narcissistic people or energy vampires, or people that like, they know no limits. Whatever you give, they will take. Like you give them an inch, they want to take a mile. So you do have to protect yourself against this. And maybe you thought that this was love. Maybe you thought that this was the right way to be in relationships, that this is what God would want. But again, this is something that you misunderstand. God wants you to be strong within yourself and a fully embodied whole human being that has discernment and has boundaries and is strong and can protect themselves and hold their own. You know what I mean? This is how you uphold natural order, natural law, unconditional love, not by being, you know, all forgiving all the time under every circumstance. You know what I'm saying? Like letting people get away with certain things, taking hits, being self-sacrificial. No. That is not what Spirit wants. That is not what the divine wants. They want you to know like what's appropriate for when, you know? And that requires you to be very present in the moment and to be more like tough love, like a tough love type of person instead of like this all forgiving Mother Teresa, you know, type of person. It could also have something to do with women here. I just feel like you learn something from a mother or from women, that it's like you need to break your back or, you know, carry the load, carry some type of burden. You were just taught that like you are to be all giving. Again, like you just think that you need to be self-sacrificial, like you being self-sacrificial and sacrificing all of these things and compromising who you are as an entire person. Like this is what proves your love. This is what shows your love. And no, this is just very toxic. It's imbalanced. It creates problems. It wants to like rescue. Again, be the savior, be the hero. You have to let people be like their own saviors, be their own hero. Like everyone is capable of taking care of themselves, of making decisions and choices for themselves. I feel like you're just taking on too much responsibility in relationships because you think that this is what it means to love. You know, that's what you misunderstand. Spirit is saying, no, you need to cut this off. You need to stop doing this. I also feel like you could be the type of person that you like you place certain people above you, certain people that you think are like attractive or very charismatic, popular. Like you think that you have to cater to these type of people. Maybe like in order to be liked, or again, like to prove like your loyalty to these types of people. And Spirit is saying that this is foolish, that this is an immature way to be perceiving certain dynamics and certain relationships, thinking that like you need to overextend yourself and prove yourself and go above and beyond to impress or to like, you know, again, like prove your worth to or something. Because these could be people that you really like admire or look up to. And yeah, I just think that this was a learned behavior that you have. And you think that you being this way is going to ensure that you reach like happiness or something. And yeah, Spirit just wants you to get a better look at that. They want you to get more clarity about this. I think like you lie to yourself and you tell yourself like, no, this is what I want. This is what feels good to me. This is what makes me happy. Like being this way and being an overgiver, or thinking that this is the path to happiness. Like maybe you're like, oh, well, I'm putting in a lot of work now and yeah, I'm breaking my back and I'm overextending myself and doing the most, but it's like, it's going to pay off. I'm going to get what I want. And yeah, there's just something about that belief that you hold that Spirit is saying needs to change, needs to break down. Like you thinking that you like this, that this is what you want, or that this is what's going to get you what you want. And this is the road to happiness. The road to happiness is not this. You know, this is only going to get you walked all over, disrespected, not considered, taken advantage of, people thinking they can like do whatever they want with you. You know, this is like the person that is always like, okay, you know, I'm going to help you this time, but that's it. I can't help you again. Or like, all right, I'll give you one last chance. And then like you're that person that just constantly is always giving like that one last chance, you know? Because people know that they can get away with it with you, that you're not going to hold them accountable, that you're not going to hold up some type of boundary. And so they're taking advantage of you. And this can cause you to like become bitter or become very resentful, lash out at people, you know, because maybe you can be like, I do so much for you. I'm always forgiving you. I'm always giving you chances. I'm always bailing you out. And this is how you repay me. This is the thanks I get, you know, like these are the types of like dramas that this situation here can create, will create, does create, you know, you probably resonate with that already. And this is why. Spirit wants you to know that it's okay for you to have boundaries. It's okay for you to have teeth. It's okay for you to be firm. And that sometimes that's the best teacher. That's the best way that a person can learn. It's like that saying, you feed a hungry man, they're going to keep coming back for more. But if you teach a hungry man how to fish, they learn how to feed themselves. And they don't have to rely on you or keep coming back to you to feed them. You have to know that you restricting and you having boundaries, making sure that people are being responsible for themselves and making sure that people are taking accountability for themselves and their actions. These people are learning something foundational. This is good for them. This is something that they need to learn. This is something that they need to experience, that they need to navigate, that they need to build up, that they need to figure out. You know, even if it's a struggle, they need to struggle through it. You are teaching them something foundational in their lives. And there's no greater help than this. You think that helping people is like bailing them out? No, helping people is really letting them learn their lessons and rise to the occasion. That's how you help people. Spirit is saying that's what you misunderstand. You think that this is how you help people, but it's actually like a disservice to you and to them. And the real way to help people is by being strong and being firm and being responsible and discerning, and by restricting when necessary and not compromising yourself, not being self-sacrificial, knowing that things need to be balanced, things need to be just, and the same way that you're looking out for these people, you need to look out for yourself. You're wasting all of this energy looking out for these people, being there for them, catching them when they fall, being their net to break their fall. How about you? Who's your net? You're doing all of this at your own expense, and that's not godly. That's not what Spirit wants. Spirit is like, how about you? Spirit is here to look out for us all. They want what's the greatest thing for us all, including you. If you are being self-sacrificial, that is not divine. That is not in line with universal law and truth. So it needs to be balanced. You need to make sure that you're covering all of your bases, that you are taking care of yourself first and foremost, that you are giving from a cup that is full, that you are prioritizing yourself, your needs, the things that are important to you, your truth, that all of these things are being nourished and respected. And then you can be there for others. And again, not so freely. You have to know like when it's appropriate and when it's not appropriate. When is it doing more harm than good to bail someone out? So yeah, it's just a change in perspective that Spirit wants you to look at. They're saying the path you're on, like, it's one of lack. It's one that doesn't accomplish much. They're saying that, you know, it's time for you to just have a different perspective, to look at it clearly, see it clearly, and to be able to make some shifts, some changes, so that you can align back to your highest path. They are saying that it's something that you don't want to look at. It's something that you aren't trying to acknowledge or something. It's important that you do, because this is how you're going to bring things into balance. This is how you're going to adjust things, adjust the energy. Spirit wants you to know, like, it's not your job to be super self-sacrificial. That's not your job. So, like, don't take on what is not yours to take on. It's not your job to do that. Okay. Ooh. I'm not going to take these because they didn't flip, number one, and too many came out and I hadn't even set my intention. But we are going to go ahead and pull out an oracle as your last piece of advice from Spirit so that we can wrap up this message. So let's see. Okay. We got Enter the Garden of Delights. This is actually a really good card. It's number 28. So that number, or the number 10, could be important, because I do see that you're a very loving, giving person. It's just you're going overboard with it. So I think you do have good karmas, but Spirit just needs you to know, like, you shouldn't be sacrificing this much or taking on this much. It's not yours to carry, you know? You have to take care of yourself. Okay, so it says, you have been granted entry into sacred space, a sanctuary for worship. When the soul is well acquainted with love, life becomes a temple of love, the sacred space in which the soul can grow powerful through expansive worship of love. You are being invited by your spiritual brother, Rumi, to enter into life, to commit to coming alive, even if at times this feels deeply challenging. Sometimes a part of you may rather stay locked in an illusion of security for a time, perhaps expressed through the preference for what is known over what is unknown, what is familiar and comfortable compared to that which is unfamiliar or uncomfortable. To tussle with the parts of us that would deny aliveness is a natural part of growth. It can seem so risky, with such potential for heartache, and yet what could be more heart-wrenching than the slow death of a precious human soul, suffocated by fear and inertia? That is the greatest risk, of never really and fully being born into this world of wonders. You are being asked to cross this threshold from the life you have been living into the aliveness that is flickering and glowing at your feet. To come alive requires shedding of so much adherence to the fear of death. The great brother whispers wisdom into your heart. You have heard it, felt it already. The fear of death is so much more terrible than death itself. Nothing is dying in you but fear, so the heart can live more freely. Death and life are twin angels, dancing together in communion with the sacred. They are not opposed. They bring the soul aliveness and make the garden of delights possible. They bring the seasons of the soul that foster growth and take the appearance of dying away, which is actually part of the cycle of life, again and again and again. This oracle comes to you with a message. A new day is dawning for you. This is a time when the past will very soon cease to have any hold over you. Celebration is imminent. You are invited into the golden light of divine plenty. Put your worries behind you now and step into your divine inheritance, where all is sorted according to kindness and grace. And the sacred honoring ritual, you can say this out loud or close your eyes as you hear me say it and feel into it. I accept the gift of golden grace and healing now, to leave behind all prisons and tombs, conscious and unconscious, of heart and of mind. I open up to life and assistance through unconditional love, and being present to the miraculous beauty that seeks to live through me, as me, and in benefit to all humanity now. I know myself to be worthy of this grace, to be this grace. So be it. Place your hands gently on your heart and rest for however long feels good. So yeah, I feel like you have good karma. Like you have an inheritance that's waiting for you, and it's time for you to just like get out of your own way and step into it, like invite it in. Spirit wants you to know that you have already succeeded. And I feel like, you're the one that's blocking your own gifts because you continue to think that you have to work hard and you have to be self-sacrificial and you have to break your back for God. And like God is like, no. Like the divine is like, no. Spirit wants to give you a gift, a harvest. So I think like once you can realize that like certain things are not your responsibility, like, you shouldn't be bearing it on your own, carrying it all on your own. It's not yours to carry. Like once you realize that you are carrying things that are other people's, it's not yours to carry. And once you're able to give everybody what's theirs to carry and you stop carrying it, that is how you receive your gifts. It's like your gifts are ready. They're already there, ready, bloomed, cultivated. And it's just a matter of you receiving it. Spirit wants to rain on you. They like want to pour gifts all over you, more than you can hold. Like there's definitely a gift of plenty here. Like there's an abundance here for you. Again, like a spiritual inheritance or something of love, abundance, peace, passion, healing, purpose that they want to give you. that is yours. It's literally yours. They're saying like, can we give it to you? Do you accept this gift? So it's just time for you to open your hands and accept the gifts that Spirit wants to give you. So it's just up to you now to, like the oracle card says, enter the garden of delights. Okay, you guys, that was your message. What a beautiful message. I want to say, I see you. Thank you. You're incredible. You're amazing. You know, you're the type of person, like, you take it seriously. You know, you practice what you preach. You really show out for the things that you think are righteous. And you are someone that you want to act in accordance to, you know, what's right, to the divine law and order, to unconditional love. You're walking that path. You are truly about it. I see you. Thank you. You're incredible. You're amazing. It's not up to you to take on so much burden, so much pressure, to be carrying the weight of the world on your own just because you're so kind and so giving and so loving. It's not fair to you. And you need to look out for you. You're spending all of this time looking out for others. So it's like taking up space for you to look out for you. So make sure that that's in alignment, that that's in balance, because as soon as you do that, as soon as you make sure of that, you have a spiritual inheritance that Spirit would like to gift you with, which is just absolutely beautiful. Congratulations. It is beyond deserved. It is time. You deserve this. You have earned this. So enjoy. Thank you so much for being here with me today, for allowing me to give you this message. I hope that you got something meaningful out of it and that it has served you. I do offer personal readings. I will leave my email in the description box below if you are interested. I would love to work with you. Take good care of yourself, and until next time, bye.